try my best.
Busy.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call this council meeting to order Tuesday, July the 18th, 2023. I just want to welcome everybody that's here. And if you'll stand with me, we'll have the mayor do the invocation of the pledge.
You bow with me. Lord, thank you once again for the wonderful city that we live in. We appreciate all what our staff does to keep us going and thriving as we are. We thank you for all the citizens that are part of our community and give us so much that we enjoy the freedom that we have. We ask that you watch over council tonight to help them make sound and right decisions. We do all we do in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Kathy, will you call the roll?
Mayor Shute.
Here.
Bishop.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Mendel.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Carlisle.
Here. Okay. If there's anyone in here that wants to speak to us, and it's not on the agenda, there's forms on the front desk here. You'll fill them out and turn them into Clerk Haley. And we'll call you up when it's time. Thank you. Mayor, report.
No report tonight.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, took some time off and enjoyed it. So
Is that allowed?
in my book it is. So
Okay.
at least for the mayor.
Okay. Councilman, start with Ms. Mendel.
Good evening. One thing I wanted to say is kudos to Steve Kramer and the Public Works Department. They've had several garbage trucks out of commission, and they still got the job done over a very busy July 4th and the time after that with a big trash pickup. So thank you for that. And I want to say, too, as we're working on the budget, if you haven't heard, one of the things we're addressing to tell you how much things have gone up in price and the supply issues, $2 million for a new fire truck. Is that not unbelievable? So just to let you know what we're facing up against with the budget, a lot of costs going way up in our city. So that's all.
Thank you.
No report.
All good, sir. I had a meeting, a TDC orientation meeting. I'm the liaison for the Tourist Development Council. I'm just reporting in that they did have the County Commission pass an increase to the tourist tax from 4% to 5%, projected to bring in about $2 million a year, which goes towards getting tourism, a lot of sports events into Highlands County, a really cool thing, and some good stuff happening there.
Thank you. I have no report. Okay, on the consent agenda, we'll go A through H. We're gonna pull I.
I move to approve the
We'll
consent.
discuss.
Yep. I move to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item 8I, so we can discuss it further.
Second.
We got a motion, a second. Anyone have anything to say?
Bishop.
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, 8I is a proposed lease between the city of Sebring and the Sebring Historical Society, Inc. for the Weigel House located at 1989. Do I turn this over to you or?
Sure.
Okay.
One of the items that was discussed at the workshop that's not included in the draft that you see before you is the concept that the tenant would seek grant funding. If we're not able to receive that after 3 years, that it would not continue on for the balance of the 12. It would be then a year to year lease. Bobby Lee and I are working on how to. Everybody seems to agree that's the concept of the deal. That's the structure of the deal. He and I would like a little more time to work through language that we're both comfortable with.
So you want us just to,
Sort of approve it in concept, subject to he and I agreeing on that language.
any discussion?
No?
Anyone in the audience? I need a motion.
I move to approve the proposed lease with the addition of what our attorney just talked about.
Would say as presented.
As presented.
But do I need to say with agreed language between between Attorney Swain and Mr. Lee, so that doesn't come back, because this is not gonna come back before council, correct?
That's the proposal, is that it not come back, that
Not
we
come back,
handle this and
as long as
keep
y'all
on
agree on the
moving.
language, okay.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Anyone wanna speak on this? Kathy, hold the board, please.
Bishop,
Yes.
Haver,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes, there is no old business, so we'll move right on into new business. First is 10A, it's the Sebring Art and Crafts Festival. I understand Mr. Felder's not here. Marcia, would you like to come up and present this to us?
Good evening. I'm Marcia Davis, and I'm the treasurer of the Highlands Art League. And this is an application for the 56th Annual Sebring Arts and Crafts Festival. Do you have a copy of this, or I need to read it to you,
We
or?
have a call.
Okay. If you have any questions, I'm free. I hopefully can answer.
It's pretty much what you've been doing for 100 years, isn't it? So-
There's a slight change. We are not going to close the street on Friday night. We used to have security on Friday night. And we had a few vendors who would come on Friday night, but the last time we did that, we had a storm and it blew all their tents away. So we decided not to do it this year. So we won't need any security on Friday night. We'll just do it and close the streets from 7 to 7 on Saturday.
Okay. Anyone got any questions up there?
It's just such a worthwhile thing. We really appreciate all the work you do.
No problem.
Anyone in the audience want to speak on this? If not, I need a motion.
I move to approve the event as presented, condition upon the Highlands Art League providing a certificate of insurance showing $1 million liability insurance for the event with the city named as additional insured.
Second.
They asked for a waiver of fees.
Yeah, with the waiver of fees.
Okay.
It says as presented.
As presented.
Oh, excuse me.
It's all right. You're new to this.
I know. If there's no discussion, poll the board, Kathy.
Who seconded, I'm sorry.
Harrison.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Bishop,
Yes.
Haver,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, move around on 10B is, the Sipping on the Circle with Jim Griffin and Marcia Davis.
I'm only making Marcia do one tonight.
Oh.
So I come up to do this one.
You're such a
Um,
polite fellow.
I try. This is our second year. Last year was the first year. It was a tough year. We did it in a short amount of time, but we got it put together and it was successful. We did it in conjunction with the Art League, so it was a team effort to get all of it done. So again, this year we're asking for you to waive fees. And any questions on the event from last year? Any comments?
Do you have any issues at all?
Not anything real big. I mean, some small issues that we can work through, but nothing major. We changed the date this year. For this coming year, we made it a little bit earlier in the year. It's not as hot, less chance of rain. It's going to be in April 20th. So hopefully that'll help. Last year, I don't know if any of you were really there, we had a storm come in. And it was on both sides of us. It were kind of engulfed and wrapped around us. So there was about 2 hours there, nobody came down, which was kind of nervous, you know, but we made it through without much of a problem.
I move to approve the event as presented, condition upon providing appropriate insurance certificates showing at least $1 million of liability insurance and naming the city as additional insured at least 10 days prior to the event.
Nice second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Mendel. Second. Any discussion? Not? Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Haver,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 10C, the annual Crazy Pepper Chili Cook-Off. Dr. Pepper.
Good evening, Council, and thank you for all your support. I'm Dr. John Pepper, here on behalf of the Rotary Club of Highlands County. It will be the 12th annual, not the 13th annual. We did miss 1 year with COVID. Basically the same setup as last year. Every year we've seen continued growth with the event, and we hope to continue to see that. We do have the Out of Hand band scheduled to play this year throughout the event. And we are asking for a waiver of fees this year. Also, if any of you are interested and aren't putting a team in, if you'd like to be on the judges panel, you can check with me, and I know several of you have done that for a number of years, so we appreciate your participation and support.
Okay. Any discussion?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
What would put our team over the top into winning the event? What's it going to take? What's the secret ingredient?
Is that people's choice or the overall
The
judge?
Overall, yeah. What are we missing?
Might have to
Good
talk to
chili?
I'm just kidding. It's a great event. It's a great event.
Thank you.
It is.
My Rotary was there this year participating, and it was awesome and
Yeah.
packed out. I think every single vendor or team got rid of all of their chili well before the event was even over. It was a really good turnout.
Thank you.
It's always a pretty good turnout. This past year, I think was more people. Yep,
Thank you.
always good. Okay, if there's no discussion, I need a motion.
I move to approve the event as presented, conditioned upon providing appropriate insurance certificate showing at least $1 million of liability insurance and naming the city as additional insured at least 10 days prior to the event.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. No discussion. Hold the board.
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. I got one question for you.
Okay.
Did your parents make you become a doctor so you could be Dr. Pepper?
He didn't want me to be a welder, I'll tell you that.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Moving right along to 10D, the Pumpkin Patch Party. Kelly Dressel is not here, but did you want to talk, Scott, or she just said everything's going to be the same as last year?
So the event's essentially the same as last year. I think they expanded the road closure a little bit. It's going from the Circle to Pine Street. I think last year it went from Wall Street to Pine Street. Otherwise, it's the same. The event's going to be on Sunday, October 15th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Or the event hours are going to be 12 to 6. The road closure is going to be 10 to 7. And the event organizer is requesting waiver of fees.
So she said that if we had any questions, we could put it to the side and ask her next time, or we can move on. It's up to, what's the pleasure?
I think I have it memorized now.
Okay.
I move to approve the event as presented, conditioned upon providing the appropriate insurance certificate showing at least $1 million of liability insurance and naming the city as additional insured at least 10 days prior to the event.
Second.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, 10E.
Hey, before we move on there, there's just a lot of these events. I don't know if that's possible, if you guys would be, if we could entertain the idea of maybe the new PIO position, work with the city with these well-established events that we don't need to approve all of these annual events that have been going on for 3, 5, 40, 50 years. Is that something that could just go on the consent agenda, or could we just delegate that if it's going to be approved?
I think some of
Go on
them,
consent.
I think Kelly's was on the consent agenda last year.
So the only rationale behind these not being on the consent is the event organizers are asking for a waiver of fees.
Okay.
If that's what you want to consider permanently, if you will, then we can always put them on consent.
I think it's a good idea to have them present each time, because there are different questions that come up, and it's an opportunity for them to get some advertising and let us know what they might have new or any changes. I think it's a good time. It just takes a few minutes to listen to what they have to say, and that would be my opinion.
Some of the event organizers do request to present.
Okay.
Just, and generally, those are probably the new ones, as opposed to the ones that have been, doing it for years, if you will.
Good to know. Throwing it out there.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
that's a good point.
Okay, we'll move right on to 10E, the college market / farmer's market. Is it Mr. Corsby? Go speak to us.
This is the first time I've ever done one of these.
Oh, that's okay.
Never sure how to do it.
Good evening. Good evening.
Just tell us who you are.
I didn't even know how you did this. My name is Andre Corsby. They put Andrew as my little brother.
Yeah.
So basically, our market's going to be similar to what Mike was doing and Lisa, the one that was here on Ridgewood. So we're combining with them, but we're going to be more focused on food and farmers, not a lot more on the arts and craft. You're allowed to have arts and craft stuff as long as it's homemade, not stuff that you bought and try to resell.
Right.
Because the whole point is, we're trying to do like a cottage market, so we want people to make stuff and bring it to the market. And we've already been approved for SNAP, and I don't know if you ever heard of Fresh Access Bucks. Fresh Access is a grant from the state of Florida for people that have SNAP. It doubles their money at markets like these, up to $40.
Wow.
So when they come in the market, we have these little scanners. So we'll scan their EBT card and give them a chip for their EBT, and then they get a different chip for stuff they can only purchase for fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
So they can't go and buy baked goods or nothing like that. And that's one of the benefits of it. We have to go through a whole process with getting approval for that. And that's what we're hoping the market would be more, to bring people downtown. And we were hoping for the space on Ridgewood, but I think something happened with the space. It's sold or something like that.
It's going to be under contract, correct?
Yeah, so I talked to Scott, and they said the space that we can use would be behind the tattoo parlor. They're on Lakeview. And I guess that's where they used to have the market
Yes.
traditionally in the past. And that space was perfect too. Actually, it's a bigger space and has nice parking.
Right.
And traffic goes one way this way and one that.
Mhm.
So we wouldn't need any road closures or anything like that.
And you have these people set up to bring in vegetables and stuff? or do
Yeah,
you do
I also operate a thing called Her Cottage Farm. So we also do produce and meal preps and stuff like that. And we service a lot of the 55 and older communities where we take the meals already, it's not cooked, but it's all the prep work's been done. You just finish it at home. We do salsas and zucchini. We do the sheet pan, baked, like your potatoes, carrots, onions already cut, and you take it home and cook it. And we co-op with a lot of farmers for like Barrett Farms and anywhere we can get local stuff coming in.
Okay.
And then
You
Scott
guys got any questions?
said
That's a
to
good
ask you
idea.
something about waiver. What is it? Waiver of the fee for the lot
Right.
rent or something like that.
There aren't any fees associated with it, and if they approve it, they're approving essentially you utilizing that lot.
Okay. I'm
But
not sure
it-
how this works.
Yeah, but he does have to have the insurance.
Correct.
Yeah. We were gonna do the 2 million because when I talked to the insurance company, it was like $6 more
Really?
for. They're like, why not?
Yeah, just in case, you never know.
All right.
I think this is a great idea. We
Yeah.
appreciate you working on it, and I look forward to coming in.
Thank you. Yeah,
checking
we
it
worked
out.
with Mike this whole last market, and we were one of the vendors here, and we have our store set up on Franklin Street as well.
Okay.
So that space is literally like right.
Right, yeah.
I can walk to it from my store.
Very good.
And you're gonna do it year round?
That was the plan, yeah.
Okay.
Because we noticed that our business stays busy even though a lot of people left. A lot of people are still here.
Okay.
People still got to eat. You know, it's not really an event, arts and craft. It's more for. I know I'm a farmer. I have a poultry farm and stuff.
Yeah, eating is a habit. We can't get rid of it.
Well, when I first started my business, I had a choice. I can either raise pet chickens and stuff like that, or I raise meat chickens. I realized if you bought a pet chicken, I might not see you again for a few years. But if I sold you meat chicken, you'll be back next week.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I move to approve the event as presented, conditioned upon presenting the city with special event insurance for at least $1 million and listing the city as additional insured.
I second it.
Any discussion? Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, we're moving right on to 10F.
Thank you.
Back to school youth extra. Ms. Wiggins,
Hello.
how are you?
Wait.
Oh, you're okay. Tell us who you are.
Thank you. I am Angel Wiggins, and I'm the president of Highlands County NAACP. And this is Mrs.
Celia Page.
She is our education committee chair, and we are here to present our Back to School Explosion, which is an event that we would like to host downtown Sebring. It's a little bit different than any other back to school event. This event, we have committed partners from our community, South Florida State College. We have Southside Community Network. We also have a host of other additional educators that'll be helping us put off this event. So this event is very cut and dry. Every participant will get a passport. They have to stop at all of our vendors so that they can get the educational items that they need, and at the end they'll see an NAACP person. We'll wave, make sure they have the resources, and give them out some school supplies. The reason why it is different is not a very cut and dry book bag giveaway. We want to make sure that our students are receiving the things that they need. So additional educators have been brought in, such as our success coaches from all of the high schools, Miss Barrett, Miss Tamika Scott, and so forth. They will be there, and they will be talking with the students about navigating with the guidance counselor, so they'll have the tools that they need. We also have Miss Susie Johnson, who is a retired she's the retired FAFSA director from South Florida State College. She'll be there to help them navigate the FAFSA application, as well as other grants that are in our area. And then Ms. Celia Page is also the CEO and director of Divine Academy, and she will also have activities for the younger students to be able to participate in. But this is for the entire family, so making sure that the parents walk away as well with the items that they need so that the students can be more successful. And we're not just gearing it towards college, we're also gearing it towards vocational programs. So there will be people on staff that will be talking about the vocational programs that are available to the students who are not, college is not what they're looking to do for their next steps. We are asking for, if we are able to get this location. We do not want to have any road closures for this particular event. We have asked that the city look into us potentially getting electric for the circle area, because we know that that had been pulled back as of recently. And then we have requested a few garbage cans, and we're asking that fee of $75 per trash can be waived. And I don't think I talked about the date of the event.
No, July 28th.
July 28th.
I'm sorry, 29th.
29th.
From 12 noon.
Oh, there it is.
29th.
July 29th from
12
12
noon
until
to
3.
3.
We needed to look at the monitor.
Okay. It says use of the non-accessory property.
I've cleared it with the CRA already.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not under contract yet.
Okay. Anybody got any questions?
I do. It says use of Circle Park and then use of the CRA owned in the accessory properties. So is it both properties?
So it would be both properties, yes. So because of the number of vendors that we will be having, and those vendors are not food vendors, they're just resources from the community, we're going to have some around the circle, and then we're also going to have some in that open lot.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yeah, and they'll list city and the CRA as additional insured.
Okay. Any more questions?
But when you do your motion, I need to know if you're gonna do the electric and the, and the trash cans, cause that was not part, that just said waiver of fees, and that did not say anything about the electric and the trash cans, so I need to, that needs to be put in your motion if we're going to provide electric. Steve, is there electric on the circle now, or, no? So we need to, that needs to be discussed if y'all are gonna provide that.
I think it's written up so that there'd be a waiver of fees for the trash cans. That's a $75 fee there.
It's not per can.
Oh, it's just for, okay.
It's for delivery.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. I wasn't quite sure.
So I guess it's just.
Wait, sorry, go, you said that there's no electric
Steve
yet?
said there's no electric on the circle.
They can get it.
But it can just has to be turned on.
Turned on.
Okay, so, okay. The hookups are just all there. Oh, okay. Yeah.
He doesn't know. He's saying he doesn't know.
What?
So they're wanting to
Steve
have
is
electric.
saying he doesn't know what that
Yeah, I think
entails.
that's, you need electric.
The electric?
And the only location we can have electric is Circle, because
Right.
there is not electric at the CRA lot,
Accessory.
an accessory lot.
So at the circle, it just needs to be turned back on.
We'll arrange it.
Hook back up, something. Okay.
So I'm sorry, may I interject?
Sure.
So it's also been brought to my attention that we do have to have the insurance in by 10 days, and unfortunately, we don't have 10 days. We're cutting it very close. I have preliminarily asked for our insurance to make sure that we're covering both the CRA and the city, so I do have that ready to go once we do receive approval. Perfect.
You just have to get with you, right?
Yeah, just get it to me.
Yeah, I'm just gonna email it over once you say good. Perfect.
Perfect.
Yep, I got it. I move to approve the event as presented, conditioned upon providing appropriate insurance certificate showing at least $1 million of liability insurance and naming the city and the CRA as additional insured.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Anyone have any questions for these ladies?
Thank you. It's a great event.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy? On board, please.
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Mendel.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, 10G is a no trespass issue at Max Long Field. Representative of the Seaman Youth Baseball. Who is representing that?
Matt Gross is representing youth baseball with Sebring Inc.
Okay, come on up, Matt.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, tell us who you are.
Matt Gose. I'm president at Sebring Youth Baseball at Max Long Recreation Park.
Okay.
For the benefit of the audience, the city of Sebring owns Max Long Field and has a long-term lease with Youth Baseball of Sebring Inc. for it to manage those fields, to control the play on it, and to, if necessary, issue no trespass orders to those that are an obstruction to them conducting all the children's activities out there that happen.
Yes.
Are Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy here with us this evening? Guardians for a minor whose last name's Kennedy? No, the guardians were not pleased with the board's decision to no trespass a minor young man from the property. They asked, I know they had met with several, they met with the mayor, they met with me, met with Scott. They weren't pleased with any of the answers provided to them at those stages. I offered for them to come to council, telling them, however, that the lease provided for the board to be able to do that which they have done. They wanted to come to the city anyhow. Matt, along with all the other board members, are of course volunteers, but he agreed to be here this evening. If you all wanted to hear more about why the board did that, you need not delve into the minutiae if you don't care to. I don't care to. Thank you for what you do over there, all the
Yeah.
work all the volunteers support you, that run the field and operations as you desire and as you need to.
Thanks, Matt, for
Matt?
taking care of
Yeah,
everything.
we'll try.
I don't think we should be overstepping their authority.
I don't
Yeah.
either.
Not at all.
I don't think that's our
We don't
role.
have a dog in that hunt, so. All right, thanks, Matt.
And we trust your judgment on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was the board's judgment.
Yes.
It was a whole entire
Yeah,
board. It wasn't a person.
No.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you and the
Thank
board.
you for coming. Okay, 10H is proposal modification to Eagle Lake Estates Development for a Heroes Village for Veterans, Cliff Roads.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Cliff Rhodes. I'm representing a group called the Veterans Builder Group. With me tonight is Sean Flannery. He was flying was it New Jersey or New York?
New Jersey.
But all the flights were canceled. He drove. And with him is George Green. He drove from Pensacola for this meeting this
About
evening.
the same distance.
You had a lot of time to think.
The subject of this agenda item is a approximate 368-acre parcel that is down Sparta Road. It's within the city limits. It's down at the corner, the northwest quadrant of Sparta Road and Bassage Road. And hopefully each of y'all has a packet that my folks delivered to Scott here, and hopefully Scott shared with you the packet. There will be one page, an errata sheet, if you will, that I'll hand you in a few minutes that'll correct. It's a bird's eye view, if you will. My job is to help these fellows with moving this thing along, but I'm going to give a historical perspective of this site from a zoning perspective, so you'll have the groundwork laid for where the property's at and where we would like it to go. Back in 2006, remember that was a heyday of development. Eagle Lake Estates LLC and this city entered into a development agreement for the zoning of this parcel, which again abuts Sparta Road and Bassage Road. This agreement was a culmination of an evolution of the zoning of the property from I think ag to city R1 zoning, and then from R1 zoning to PD zoning. So this property is currently the subject of a PD, planned development, or PUD, planned unit development agreement entered into by the city and the then owner. I think he's the current owner. In 2010, the city and the owner entered into a new agreement. It's a restated development agreement, and that's the one that is currently affecting this property. I'm going to give you the few highlights of that agreement that affect the property as we sit here today. One, the developer, assuming there is development, would plat a subdivision upon the property. The development would be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan, which is a part of the agreement. This is the current PD zoning, mind you. This is not what we're seeking. The density would be 1,124 units within the development, or 2.8, a little over 2.8 residential units per acre. The development would be gated. There would be one access off of Sparta Road, one access off of Bassage. You'll hear Mr. Flannery and Mr. Green talk about additional access points for this subject property, and a slight reduction in density from what is the current agreement provides for. The agreement provides for the developer to manage the other requirements for development, including concurrency, traffic impact, associated improvements, water and sewer, and fire and police protection. The agreement had attached to it a site plan showing the entries, the roads, the locations of the residential units, assisted living facilities, and park and preserve space. My client is here tonight seeking an amendment to that agreement. So the property would remain zoned under a PD zoning category as it currently is. We would seek what we consider to be very minor amendments to the PD, the current PD zoning agreement, development agreement that's in place, which, as I stated, would include a slight reduction in residential density. It would include on the current, under the current agreement, you have an assisted living facility located at the northeast corner of the property.
There's a map up there if you want to reference that.
This is the current site plan, which has been agreed upon by this city and the current owner of the property. This is Sparta Road here. This is south, and this is Bassage Road. Up in the, as I was saying, up in the far right-hand corner, there's an independent or assisted living facility. You'll notice along the north tier, multifamily section, rec area there in the center, and then some we'll call them estate lots along the lakefront. Interior would be higher density residential. My client's plan, well, I'm going to let Sean speak to the details of the plan, and I'm here after he speaks. The three of us are here to answer any questions. This development would be designed for veterans, and only veterans and their families. It's a VA HUD grant-driven program that we're looking at, and so it's going to be called Heroes Village, but it's designed for veterans and their families, and it would be the largest veterans facility like this in the state of Florida. Again, the site plan that we propose is substantially similar to this one that you see in front of you, and with that, I'll turn the podium over to Sean Flannery. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name's Sean Flannery. I'm here with my partner, George Dreen. George is a Marine disabled veteran. Thank you for your service, George. But currently still works with the DOD and is a federal registered contractor with the federal government. George is also a resident of Pensacola, Florida. We spent hours and hours today walking the property. We were thrilled. We were thrilled with the town. We were thrilled with what we saw with the town, the comfortability that we have from the veteran perspective, the infrastructure, the stores, the roads. We just felt at ease, and it's such a compliment will be provided to ourselves and the town. Please, at any time, if you have any technical or engineering questions, we're going to address those to George and then myself just for the overall program.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to clarify, Cliff, because the summary we got, you're saying there's a reduction in density?
In residential units.
Because the summary we
Slight
got shows an increase in density.
There would be a slight reduction in density.
So you're going from the 1171 to the
1104 in residential units. What we did is George, because of the beds with the clinic or because of the employees, we wanted to add everything together. But from residential units, there's going to be a complete reduction.
In other words, I think that 1174 figure includes rooms within the assisted living facility.
Not just that, but also units for the commissary, for the gym, whatever. We calculated everything in there for you all. So that's probably where the disconnect is.
So it's really not a density, it's just a number of buildings.
Yes.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
That's the new proposal. There's gonna be a handout. We have a road going in right off of the lake. The frontage on the lake will be estate homes. Right behind that, on the one side of the street, will be duplex, and then the townhomes behind that. What we've incorporated is we're gonna utilize the wetlands for walking areas, and park, almost like a parkland sanctuary. All of our product is Category 5 rated. It's a federal requirement. We're off-grid too for 30 to 90 days. God forbid we have a hurricane or what have you come through. We're going to be managed by an HOA of veterans. There'll be sidewalks, walking paths, and roads throughout. There'll be 2 emergency entrances and exits for police, fire, and then the 2 main gates off the 2 main roads. As you can see on the presentation, it will break down by color code the type of units that will be in there. The key thing to note is, please, we just gave some examples of what the homes will look like. They're just examples. But from anything from true traditional all the way to contemporary, we can work with whatever we all come to decide on. It's more about really what we're providing for our veterans at the community. So it's gonna be literally almost like a base, which is where these ladies and gentlemen are most at home and at ease, and providing them the facilities in a safe, happy environment in which not only they're gonna be happy to live in, but also needs from the clinic, the gym, camaraderie amongst soldiers, what have you. That's really the plan. That'll come from the 160,000 square foot service center. You're gonna have a community center, a pool, security rooms, monitoring systems, and backup power, pumps, the whole 9. I don't know what else I can touch base on, but we'll have solar on the property as well. We will be as green as possible. We're gonna keep a lot of the regular and traditional vegetation on the site, and make it as aesthetically pleasing as humanly possible. Yes, sir.
Just a question on construction. Are these container units?
I'm gonna have George answer exactly where we're at there. They're
Are they
steel and force, but go ahead, George.
Okay, so.
You have to go up there, please.
So this is the deck of
Right.
the full list.
Okay, so they're all steel construction. They're basically standalone. They're designed to withstand Cat 5. The meet Cat 5 withstand 218 mile an hour wind loads for up to 12 hours. We have what's called a R50 insulation package plus, and these are mandated by the federal and state for this particular type of development.
Are these prefab steel structures? Or
No,
I'm just trying to get a concept
they're
of what-
basically like a modular design, basically. They're
But they're not a modified container unit.
they're utilizing a lot of steel and a lot of the container portions for what we call the bulkheads, but then they're fitted and finished out utilizing red iron as far as cross members. So our free span's about 24 feet.
And they're going to be finished with traditional finishes,
All finished.
interior and exterior.
Yeah, interior, exterior, and we only use green board for the interior walls, 5/8, so there's mold and water resistant. That's a mandatory reality. It's what's needed when we build these things
Built on slab.
on slab, yeah, and they're all
I have
reinforced
some
slab.
questions.
Yes, ma'am.
We love and appreciate our veterans, that's for sure. And the whole concept just seems like a great concept. I have 2 major issues that I'm sure you've had it brought up to you and maybe have answers or plan on really taking care of it. One is the flooding issue out there with the water, the wetland situation. That, and I've had several people come up and bring that to me as a real concern. I did go out and look at the property. I wasn't able to access the property, but it's the one like a cattle ranch, and it's
Right.
got
Yes.
a big
Yes.
brown fence, and I did drive all around there. And Bassett Road and all, and even Sparta Road, how are they gonna be able to handle the increased traffic with this amount of density of homes and places out there? And the Bassett Road especially was very rural and, would maybe need to be improved. Was there any other access that you were thinking about? You were talking Bassett Road and then accessing onto Sparta. I don't know, is there another way that you could alleviate some of the traffic on that, or what were you thinking along those lines?
To be very candid, we spent 3 hours there on the property, and I think I passed 2 cars between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. today. We felt the 2 gates can handle flow easily, and God forbid, in case of emergency, we have the emergency gates. So that's for police and fire and security. As far as the water issue, everything will be done with the proper topography, and we also will have backup pumps for certain situations. So on property is going to be heavy-duty backup generators and systems for redundancy in any of these circumstances.
How would it affect, though, the off-property, the homes and the properties around would it redirect flow of the water?
Yes, it would, yeah, it would have to go back into the lake or however there's different cisterns,
That's from the rain.
Yes, from the rains, and then you have what's called there's a depression. There's a depression area that'll be contained with the way the thing is developed and the way it's built. We build it up.
So they're almost like man-made ponds where the runoff will go in, cisterns, what have you.
And on this little map here, and the one you just passed out, I noticed on this it says lake tracks. Are these like retention ponds?
I just want, yes, ma'am.
These little areas, okay.
Yes, ma'am. But there's one map that's the original PUD, then there was a map where we did the original PUD with the new plan next to it, so you can literally see the roads are almost in the exact same position and the development's there. The third one is we added that street for definition along the lake, so you can see that front row of homes will be the estate homes on the lake. So any of the neighbors looking at our property are gonna see the estate homes with the existing high-level vegetation that we were planning on keeping in place. And then behind that will be the duplexes, and then there'll be a road, and then on the other side of that road, which I don't even think the neighbors will even see, will be the townhomes.
Very ambitious project.
It is. We're very, very excited.
So I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
It is a pretty unique thing. Are you guys planning on building out all the infrastructure for the common areas and that kind of thing before homes? Or?
We actually have to, per federal requirement,
Okay.
for us to get the grants, the state and federal. And just to clarify a couple things, because there's obviously a process. Right now, Florida has $248 million in the coffers for veteran projects. That's now, so that's this year. Federally, I put a list in there so you can see the grants that we'll be applying for, as well as I listed the federal and local banks in which we've already had discussions with. So it's gonna be a process, but when you picture the infrastructure, it will get developed for what the needs are right out of the gate for those main buildings and the roads on the first pieces of property. So we'll sell through the federal government to our vets directly as well, into those parcels, almost like you would a large normal development from a Hovnanian or what have you, Toll Brothers, Lennar. So the roads will come in, the main buildings and facilities will be put in place first, and then we'll build into the homes and sell right behind them.
Okay. A couple other questions, just because first time I've seen this in a PD. Hardened guard structures?
Everything we build has to be Category 5.
Okay.
So hardened basically means the same thing as the way we're building the homes and the main
Hardened
buildings.
for weather. You're not preparing for an invasion. Okay.
Of course.
That's what it sounds like. Just
So,
wanna make sure.
what happens when you're working with military, they have very specific, he will say roger that instead of yes to me all day long. So
Okay.
it's just veteran lingo.
Roger
Okay.
And these will be individually sold properties?
Yes.
Deeded properties to the
Yes.
veterans, okay. And I was reading through this, some of those estate homes are pretty above most people's
Yes.
guidelines.
We're gonna be, you gotta remember, we're gonna be, marketing as, I don't really wanna put it that way. This is gonna go out to the entire veteran community across the country and probably the world. So you're gonna have generals that are gonna purchase here.
And for the lower income veterans, there's a voucher program, is that?
There's vouch, yes, there is. And it's based on income level. That's why we knew that from the high level, we were able to pencil out the project right out of the gate, because we know exactly what the government's gonna pay by soldier, and by unit. So you'll have ADA a lot, in this project. So they'll come in and it'll be a wounded warrior in a wheelchair that has very specific needs. That home will be built for that soldier.
the facilities you're gonna have there, like the emergency, is that gonna be open to veterans that don't live there as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Any of the
I
clinic.
think I'm the only veteran up
Okay,
here.
all right. Thank you for your service. Yeah.
What branch?
Army.
Roger that.
So, yes, so off-site will be great. We'll have the commissary, the pharmacy, the clinic will be there for the local community as well for the veterans. It's a nice benefit.
Absolutely.
So you do know, just in case it comes up, we have to, federally required and state required, to have backup, God forbid, of emergency, and any medical emergencies. There will be a helipad, and within the estate.
That's good.
What's your time frame?
Time frame really at this point.
Started in '06, so you're
Well,
gonna.
that's not us. Our time frame has been 3 months. So we're here in front of you. This plan's been done. We had to negotiate contract as well. So as quickly as we know we can do a veteran community, that's when we get to work.
And you're gonna need city water and sewer?
To the property. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And
I
it's
have another-
mostly, go ahead, I'm sorry, Tara.
Okay, this map right here shows
That's
one.
the original PUD that you've all approved, I believe, in 2010.
Yes.
Okay, and
That's
this.
the new one, ma'am.
Yes. All right, this shows one entry onto Bassage, and would this be showing 3 entries?
It actually has 4 because of the 2 emergency exits.
Oh, okay.
So you have one on Bassage and one on Sparta.
Okay, so my question is, I'm unclear, who is responsible for upkeep and maintenance of Bassage Road? City or?
That's county.
It's county.
It's an awful small little road.
What,
If I could- This proceeding tonight is but one hurdle for these gentlemen to overcome. There's traffic issues to contend with the county on this development. And that's, we're gonna have to face that as it comes, so.
Well, just so we know you're
Oh, yeah.
thinking about that, I'm sure
Absolutely.
that's absolutely true.
a traffic study.
Yeah.
A traffic study was actually done by the current owner, previous to that submittal to you with the
Okay.
county, but it's outdated at this point.
Well, that's the biggest complaint I have from citizens that are
Sure.
contacting me about this, but I have to say, I'm really in support of you
Thank
guys.
you.
I really appreciate what you're doing.
Some of the grants or money you're reaching out for, are they, can they be used for roads? Outside the,
I do not know that. You're looking to me, I do not know the
I
answer.
could-
I'm
I-
asking, I got 3 guys here, I don't know who to look at.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's actually infrastructure money
Right.
for development within the state of Florida.
Okay.
Then there's also federal money. So the hardest part of these projects for us, because we do this, you know, the construction every day and the engineering, is really, some of these grants are 180 pages. So it's filling out the grants, but because of our veteran status, the government is obliged by law to reply to us in an expeditious manner for the government. You know, that's 30 to 60 days. So once we have the resolution, we then go apply for, it's gonna be 30, 40 grants at that point.
Yeah,
We'll
at
have
least
the,
minimum.
yep, we'll have the bank introductions with the final plan, which I was hoping to do that as soon as possible. And then we'll know exactly where we stand. What you're not seeing here will be updated laws or grants going for 2024.
I had a phone call that asked me, of course I couldn't answer it, what is the projected cost of this project?
It's substantial.
Well,
It's
I could figure
substantial.
that one out, but
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Have you done any other developments like this anywhere?
There's truly, the only one that George has done was, there's one in West LA. You'll see it. It's gonna be about 1,100 units out there, but it's taken years because of the politics in LA. So it was done in phases. This will be predicated on the grants as well as the draws down from the main banks in which the sellout occurs. So again, the federal government, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, George, please, is obliged to house these veterans, and as long as they're there, they are 100% qualified based on that criteria. So that's why we're so comfortable with the flow, and that's why the banks, and also because of what the project is, are very supportive of what we're doing.
Okay.
And I have one more question. Now, currently, you all don't own this property.
We are contract holders.
Okay. So that means if you got to go ahead and felt comfortable, you would be able to.
Proceed with
You've already
closing on
got your
property.
contract in
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
place
ma'am.
on your agreed price?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's good to know.
And a timeline in which to provide everything from you all on the resolution and then to provide for the permits. And so you know, you're looking at two of the point guys, but behind us are gonna be substantial, local, talent as well as, state and federal talent. The other thing too is, it's in here, we were hoping to put a van that can go from the community to the Publix or to Walmart, Home Depot, what have you. That was one of the things that you'll see within the deck. And what I like about it is jobs. I mean, what you really got to think about is how many local jobs this is going to put people to work, as well as vice versa. You're going to have a lot of talent on that property that can help with certain projects within the town and the county.
I think it's a great project, and you've obviously done a tremendous amount of work in thinking it through, and I love our veterans, and we need to do everything we can to take care of them and make them comfortable, and we would love to have them in our community, that's for sure.
George, you might comment on what we discussed in my office about the traffic element with shuttle buses.
I think you just touched upon it.
You can elaborate.
Okay, so basically,
yeah.
for the disabled veteran, they need, we'll have basically a shuttle service, be 24/7. So even in the middle of the night, if they have to go to somewhere that's open, like a CVS or to get prescription, if they don't have it, that typical reality will be provided.
There'll also be transportation within the community. We're thinking golf carts within the community from buildings to the ancillary buildings to even the wetlands and the waterfront.
And you want to discuss about the security aspects or no? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Does anybody have any more questions? I'm sure there's people in the audience that would like to speak, so let's give them the opportunity.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Gary Brown, 4957 Sparta Road, retired Navy chief, retired here, bought a ranchette in that area. Love it out there, and I think I speak for a lot of people because y'all gentlemen are coming in on a time when Sparta Road's been beat up pretty bad. We've had them wanting to put in a trailer park, and now somebody else wanting to put in multifamily housing there, so we're pretty raw nerves and beat up. I think it sounds like a great thing for the veterans, and but we do have a lot of concerns, and we asked the commission to please watch this closely as it goes, because gentlemen, we live in the area. There's a lot of traffic. You may have seen 2 cars. You need to be there when that school's open. And also Bassage Road goes out into Sparta Road. So in a sense, you're dumping all the cars on Sparta Road. And when people leave there, they're not going to turn right and go to 66. 90% of them, if not all of them, is going to turn left and come to Sebring. And all of you commissioners know what the intersection there at 27 and Sebring is like. We were really worried about it as residents when we were talking about a couple of hundred units and even 80 units. Now we're talking about 1,200 units or thereabouts. So that really drives us into a panic. So please, when y'all proceed with this, I assume y'all will, if y'all could have somehow welcome the community to y'all's brainstorming. What can we do here? What can we do there? How can we keep from destroying your community? We would appreciate that. That's all we're looking for. And especially, please find another access. I don't know what it's like through the woods out there, but if you could dump into 66, that would be great, or somewhere besides everything going on Sparta Road. And also, as you go down Sparta Road, where the cows graze, and it's heavy rains, which right now it's not. I mean, we're getting good rainfall, but that water is sometimes deep, and all of our properties and all the places around there drain to that swampy area. So if you're not real careful with that, then our property's going to be flooded. So you can see why we have nerves, and we're real nervous. I'm speaking for some of my friends here, I think, and this whole row and all of us back here are from Sparta Road, and we heard about this and we were nervous, but we don't always want to be the ones saying, no, not in our backyard. But we do have great concerns, so please look out for us and include us on any talks or plans. And did I miss anything, guys? Oh, yeah. Some of the residents out there, these being ranchettes, has their boys, young teenage boys that shoot guns. They shoot guns because they could compete competitively with them. And their property backs up just to the property y'all are building on. And there was a concern that was shared to me that if gunshots go off, are we going to have disabled veterans that hear it and panic? I mean, you know, what are we doing? Stuff like that. Educate them, locate the barracks, I'll say, of where they're staying. Another area or closer to Bassage instead of close up north toward town. You know, things like that we want to be included in on. And so that it won't panic the veterans and so that they won't not be able to shoot their guns and such as that. So that's all I got. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Angel Wiggins, 1216 Heavy Tree Court.
It's on the
So,
agenda. You think we have the time on?
my concern is, it's really not a concern, but will this property take the place of the current veterans clinic that's here in Highlands County? Okay. My other concern is I am someone that is in healthcare as an operations director. I have the only VA contract in this county, both Optum VA and the long-term VA. Will I now be in competition with the actual, not assisted living veteran, but long-term care veteran going into your facility? So will you have an actual medical facility, such as a nursing home facility for those veterans? Because that is who I currently provide care for. Okay.
Well, you're gonna have a hospital. There's gonna
No,
be
it's a clinic.
Is it a clinic?
But we will, yeah.
Okay, so a clinic is not what I'm asking about, because a clinic is not going to provide the service that I provide. The veterans live in my facility. I provide 24-hour round-the-clock care. Most of them are bed-bound or they suffer with PTSD.
We will have some element of that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, but not taking the place of the current
We're
clinic
not here to
that we.
replace anyone.
Okay.
We're here to add to what is existing and
Just add to the efficiency, basically.
No worries.
So we have the right care.
and remember now we're bringing in all these additional potential clients.
Actually, it's a great need because there are patients that do need to transition from out of my facility and find somewhere to go. And they are not welcomed in traditional assisted livings because of the fear of PTSD and some of the other issues that they've had in their past that comes up. So this would be also a help to me and my demographic, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
There was one other thing I just wanted to add as well. We're gonna put a school on the site, welders, construction, plumbing, electric. We discussed today, after seeing the farmland and the to maybe even do an agricultural school as well on the site.
For the veterans.
For the veterans, yeah,
Okay.
yep. And that, some of these rooms of the 1,171 are included for those students. So the rooms are not just for the students, they're also for caretakers, the workers on site, the property managers.
Okay.
So that's within that number. The true density that Cliff mentioned has gone down, I wanna say 63 units.
Okay, thank you.
That's
I think
amazing.
we got somebody else.
Mr. Dan Page.
Dan Page, 619 South Commerce Avenue, Sebring, Florida. My concern is, there's a lot of talk about the many units coming in, the traffic complications. Sparta could use some assistance already as it exists in terms of traffic. That's my understanding. I've heard a lot about it. And I understand in response to a question someone asked, how much is the project going to cost? And the gentleman defined it as a lot. And a lot used to be $1 million, but it's been redefined recently to $2 billion. So if it's going to be a lot, then I think we ought to condition any approval or any involvement. It should be built into their plan where they extend SPADA. They include that in that a lot they're talking about, and any other ingress, egress that is necessary, because they're talking about 1,200 units. They're talking about all this traffic that's going to add to the problem of SPADA. If they're going to come in and add to it as massively as they indicated, then they should be the one responsible in that a lot to bring in and widen our roads or what have you.
It's part of their development agreement, actually.
It is part of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes, sir. Let me read the latter half of paragraph 5, traffic impact under the existing agreement as it sits today. Should the proposed development create traffic burdens on Sparta Road, Bassage Road, US Highway 27, and/or State Road 66, developer will provide such additional right-of-ways and improvements as may reasonably be required by the county to alleviate those traffic burdens, which may include widening of Sparta Road, installation of appropriate turn lanes and/or acceleration or deceleration lanes.
And that's all good, and that's nice language, but that then we get into a court battle of how do we define escalation in traffic or what have you.
They'll have a traffic study.
Say again?
They have to do a traffic study.
Oh, they have to do a traffic study.
Along with the county.
All right, and it would be based upon numbers or density to determine whether or not.
Trip counts.
Gotcha. Good enough.
Again, this is sort of step one in the
Sure.
process. There will be public hearings should this move forward, and a stop at the Planning and Zoning Committee or Commission, and then again back to City Council. So,
Right.
any yes vote today is not
Sure.
not putting them into motion to start building tomorrow.
Right. But we all recognize, everything, it sounds like a great project, but everything great comes with great problems as well. So, great purpose, it's good. I think the veterans need it. It's gonna bring needed things into the community. But at the same time, it's going to damage areas. And we just wanna make certain those that's going to enhance it and benefit from it will also be responsible for taking care of the damage.
Yes, so there
to
will
it.
be an impact for sure.
Okay.
I think anytime you have an ambitious project like this, that's, I think, very worthwhile, of course, you're gonna have problems and all, and, there are a lot of safeguards in place to see that these things are taken care of properly, I believe. So we appreciate your thoughtful cooperation, and it sounds like you'd be willing to cooperate with our people that'll be directly impacted with this. I think we can overcome these problems.
Yes, sir.
Jim Griffin, 2120 Slosher Road. First question is, you're getting rid of the park and just adding green space? Is that what you're doing up here?
It's gonna be green space. We're talking about walking paths, and we actually spoke to our land use attorney today about they're like floating docks, which they're not permanent docks, so they don't disrupt the area where they go in by stakes. So we wanted to run a walking path all through there, and then that front wetland area as well.
Okay. When it's totally built out, how many residents are you guessing it will hold?
Well, it's the average family in Sebring, so if it's 4 in a home, so 4 times.
So 4,000 people?
There you go.
And how many ancillary people working?
Hey,
Roughly.
you need to speak into the mic.
And how many ancillary people
No.
working?
Mr. Flannery.
We have not.
He needs to speak into the mic too. You need.
So there's a clear record.
Yeah, no problem, sorry. I don't think we can answer that right now. We've got to break down the main buildings into square footage, which we've kind of estimated, and then work back with the government to find out exactly how they're going to fund certain projects and certain ancillary projects that we're going to be putting in, from the schools to the clinic, and then we'll work it backwards.
After you build the infrastructure in the main buildings and you start building out the homes.
Yes.
What happens if you don't have enough residents that want to come? Let's say you only have 300 residents that want to come.
If I can
We need we need several mics.
Tell you about the debate.
Okay, through the VASH and the HUD and VASH program, what happens is the VA actually provides and brings in the people. They're gonna be waiting in line. There's filling all the spaces, that's not even gonna be an issue. We may not have enough. So, I'm just saying.
This is a Field of Dreams scenario. Build it and they're coming.
Oh, no, they're looking,
They need it now.
yeah, they need it right now. They need to find
I think
spaces.
there's 40,000 soldiers right now.
It's 4,672 right now.
Wow.
And so, and then the reason behind this push is to fulfill that mandate because they're looking for it. Because one of our mottos are, there's no veteran should be homeless if they serve our country with honor. So that's one of our driving forces. So we got to take a look at all the realities of it and how do we fulfill that mission statement. And they're looking for it right now. They have all these programs everywhere. Everybody's pushing on it. And even Home Depot and Lowe's, they're behind this whole project as well. Sherwin-Williams and PPG as well.
You had a big spread on the front page of the newspaper today also.
Right. All I'm just saying is, you're not gonna have anything empty there.
Yeah.
So we may have to look for other properties to even expand this, because if this works out the way we're anticipating, we may not even have enough room.
One last question. So we just talked about maybe 4,000 families. What's
Not
this?
families.
Residents. What's our population in the city now? 10,000, 11,000?
11,000.
So we're adding basically 40, 50%. Fire and police. Do we need another fire station? Do we need another police station? Are we gonna need to buy another $2 million truck? Is this part of that? Will they help with this or not? Or is
So,
it-
what we have to do is better.
Jimmy, recognize there's a current development agreement in place that allows for the development that is just this size, if not bigger, in terms of residential units.
Well, I understand
So-
that, but
so-
once it begins and happens, how does all
That was a
get-
decision council made with the developer then back in 2010.
Okay, so what's
And-
the
and this-
agreement say?
Their charge is to, since they made that agreement, council's charge is to provide the infrastructure that is gonna be necessary to develop the property. These guys may be paying for some of that, obviously.
So the agreement says that you guys will pick up any cost for firemen? or-
So, if I could, there's a federal regulation, state and federal, that it is within our purview to provide fire and safety on the premises as a standalone. But they can be also brought out to other needs for the surrounding community. So we have to have a firehouse, we have to have a police house in the location for security.
And that is something you guys will provide?
Yes,
Okay.
we have no choice.
Okay.
Thank you. Good questions. Yes, sir?
He asked all the questions I was gonna ask.
Good.
To answer your question, Jim, that was not provided for in the agreement, so
Right,
good point to raise.
Okay, what wasn't provided for?
In the original agreement, the firehouse.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't. But whatever, because I am a veteran, what everybody has to realize is the only reason we're setting up here and we're sitting here free is because of our
Absolutely.
veterans.
Absolutely.
And we need to take care of them. We really do.
We appreciate it.
Dr. Pepper.
Quick question, John Pepper, 2151 Schlosser Road. If everything goes, smoothly with this, what kind of time frame were you looking at?
I honestly, I don't, even if the board gave us permits within 12 months, you're gonna start development probably 3 to 6 months after that, and that's gonna be infrastructure development out of the gate. I don't see a house being up for at least 3 years, at least.
Any more questions, comments, concerns? Okay. Well, we need a motion.
I move to instruct city staff to follow the above recommended actions to move forward with the development.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. If there's no more discussion. Yes, ma'am.
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Absolutely, yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you all very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Nice meeting you all. Thank you.
We look forward to working with you.
Cliff.
And
Can
we
you
just
give me
want you to
another one of these?
consider what they were saying about keeping the community.
We will, we will.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here long term.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just make copies.
Remember, this isn't like a, you sell out and it's over.
Terry.
We're here.
Okay, thanks. That's a great idea.
Cliff,
Yeah.
I got one.
And thank you for helping our veterans out.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Thank you.
All righty. Business from the audience, he's not here. Mr. Flores. Speedway, whatever. What are we talking about?
Lakeview Drive, bro.
Okay.
I would think so.
Chief, you might not want to. This pertains to you too. Ralph Flores, 4290 Lakeview Drive. If you notice, I label my comment as Speedway. I think that I came to this board about 3-4 years ago regarding the flashing light by the park, Veterans Beach, that says crosswalk. It's a flashing light. Irma knocked it down. It had never been put up again. I mentioned that 3-4 years ago. The other thing is we need to do something before somebody gets killed on Sebring Parkway, on Lakeview Drive. Cars are going there 50, 60 miles an hour in front of the park. Kids are being dropped off across the street. They have to cross the street in the morning, and in the morning they have to cross the street to pick up the bus. In the afternoon, they got to cross the street again. My next door neighbor, third grader, dropped off by the park. Traffic hour. And, think about it. The city's got to do something about it. The police department's not doing anything about it. I've asked him, I've questioned them, I've called, left messages for the chief. Chief never returned my call. Have somebody else call me. It is serious. It's not a joke anymore. Somebody's going to get killed. And at that time, you're all going to say, well, I think we need to do something about it. It's too late then once a kid gets killed. I don't have any kids. It's just my wife and I in that house. But we have a lot of kids in the neighborhood that they have to cross. You should be there by the park 4th of July. It was ridiculous. 50, 60 miles an hour. People going by there, passing each other, racing down the street. If the police not doing anything about it, I think the commission needs to do something about it. The county has to do something about it because part of Lakeview Drive belongs to the county. So they need to do something about it too. It's not just on you and the police department. But somebody's got to do something. Put four-way stops, do something, but something's got to be done. I don't have an answer for that. The answer that I got from the police department from a lieutenant one time told me, we don't have enough police officer. Well, do something. There's enough police officer for something else. We need to have police officers there. We need to stop the traffic from going 60 miles an hour through Lakeview Drive. Something's got to be done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Page?
Good evening again, Dan Page, 619 South Commerce Avenue. You know, after you say it a couple of times, you can remember it much easier. I'm here on behalf of concerned citizens for the voiceless, as well as NAACP in partnership, and just want to understand that you guys are pre your budget now, and just want to at least inquire that a budgeted item be taken consideration, those that have been marginalized. I did furnish or submit letters to each council person and forward it with the concerns. I did want to read the letter into the record, but if there's one mine's written on that you have that you can make a part of the record, I won't read it. And the reason I want to read it is because I was at the county earlier with a similar letter, and I got that red buzzer. So I'm trying to address it without getting the red buzzer because it certainly would exceed 3 minutes.
Well,
So-
we have you have 2 minutes.
Right, I understand that. So what I want to do is the marginalized that we consider and talked about are those that are the homelessness. That's a serious problem here in Sebring, as well as those addictions, as well as the mentally disabled. the answer now has been, well, we'll just incarcerate them. We'll have a crisis unit that address the problem afterwards. We've seen the homeless that have been removed from where they were surviving and all this stuff placed on the road. And I understand the city has concerns, big concerns, and it's a difficult task, and including anything that involve, we'll say, those that you believe that can help themselves. But we have broken people, and you've done a great job in building the community, the infrastructure and all that. We're just asking for some of that money, some of that time addressed to those, the voiceless. And so in the correspondence, we ask that you consider 2.25% of your budget that goes toward these issues. The answer's not there. The establishments or the organizations are not created, but it's kind of a stepping stone. We're not asking for money. We're just asking for set aside for these, because in seeking of federal funds, even state funds, most of them are asking for matching funds. So we have to go in saying, as a part of the request, that the county is assisting. We've asked the county, and the city is assisting as well. There are great programs out there addressing these needs in sister cities like Tampa, Orlando, and I don't plan on reinventing the wheel. I'm just going to take pieces from each one of those organizations.
Your
and
time is up.
My time is up.
Yeah, you got the red light.
Right. Right.
Sorry.
And just lastly, we have partnerships and other organizations that's already involved. We just need help. These people need help.
Okay.
So we respectfully request that
Well,
you
thank
consider
you
that
for
during the course of your
bringing
budget.
that to us.
Yes, sir. Well, cheers.
Can we give
Angel
her 3
Wiggins.
minutes? Do what now? Go ahead.
Angel Wiggins,
You're
12.
gonna have to fill out a paper so we have a record of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, go ahead and talk,
Go ahead
fill
and
the
talk,
paper
yeah.
out.
Okay. Angel Wiggins, 1216 Heavy Tree Court. May I yield my time to Attorney Page?
Breaking all kinds of rules.
I am not.
The board,
John, come on.
the
This
board
is a
has
good
established a
cause.
policy that it needs to enforce uniformly, and so that's the reason. It's got nothing to do with you all
No,
personally.
we're not taking it personal. No, we just wanted to bring it to the attention. And I know you guys have already considered it and what have you. We just want you to know that we, as concerned citizens, certainly are working on it, and we'll love the partnership with the city of Sebring, the county, and other partnerships throughout the community. So when we come to ask for money, this is the pre coming to you asking for money. So when we do come asking for assistance, we'll have it laid out, we'll have everything in there, we'll provide you with a package that explains it. And so we're just kind of prepping you for when we do come. My
Well,
kids
he's the-
used to do that. They
He's
were
the
always
banker, go ask him.
Oh, we're going to go visit him too.
Yeah, you gotta soften him up first.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
just bring it to the
Yeah.
attention of everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we broke the rules. Okay, thank you.
One-story bank, so it is
We
the
got
fourth
business
floor.
Audience.
Okay, I got a comment. Can
I guess, go ahead.
Well, I do agree we need to be addressing the homeless issue and all that. Boy, that is such a hard thing. But I wanted to back up to what Mr. Flory said about the pedestrian walkway or the pedestrian path over the Lakeview Drive being broken from the hurricane. And are we going to be addressing that on the budget on how to do something like that? Because he is right. You know,
You could bring it up.
Okay, is that how that works? I wasn't sure on procedure. But, you know, this is odd, but this is what I kind of have thought of. You know, we have a lot of repairs that need to be made on Lakeview, and to me, it seems like that kind of makes a little bit of a speed bump, having things not repaired. But what would be the answer? I've seen people speeding quite quickly along Lakeview way, especially young people, in an unsafe way. What can we do there, especially if we have a lot of children out? And
So
is that something we're going to talk about?
I learned to drive here, and I don't think that you're going to find a solution to make teenagers stop driving fast. I stopped driving fast when I got my first ticket, and it came with my own insurance, and that was it. But stop signs will get ran. I will never vote for speed bumps on Lakeview personally. But if you're looking to solve, teenagers driving fast, good luck when you find the solution.
Well, I
Let me know.
think that, just like you said, when we enforce our laws, that's what the.
And I've been pulled over on Lakeview Drive, by the way.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of experience being pulled over, and so they do enforce the laws, but the police can't be everywhere all at once.
Well, that's true, but I think hopefully, I didn't know what that pedestrian crosswalk looked like. I have seen them in the past. Did it have like flashing lights and that kind of thing? Do you remember? Or?
No, it's just a flashing light telling you, warning you that pedestrian crosswalk.
Oh,
To slow down pedestrian crossing.
okay.
Like you say, they have for the bear crossing.
Okay. Thank you.
And-
It's not only teenagers, adults speak too.
I tend to be a little heavy-footed. I understand that.
So do I. But not on Lakeview, it's too rough. Okay. Yeah, we're working on getting that done. Okay. City attorney?
Nothing further, sir.
Okay. City administrator?
Evening, council. Agenda item 13A is an appointment of head golf professional search committee. Kim Best didn't retire. She tendered her
Resigned.
resignation last month. As per city charter, department heads are appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of council. Thus, staff is requesting that council appoint a head golf course professional search, or head golf pro professional search committee composed of the following members. The voting members would be Councilman Roland Bishop, Councilman Harrison Havery, City Clerk Kathy Haley, and the non-voting members would be Mayor Shoup and myself.
This person, do they have to be a golf pro or can they just be like a manager?
So, I think it could be either. I would suggest that we leave that decision up to the committee.
Okay. Just a question. Okay.
And since there is 2 council people on there, this will be a noticed meeting, not advertised in the paper, but it will be noticed. So
Okay.
everybody's aware of that.
So we need a motion.
I move to approve appointment of head golf professional search committee as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, you're up.
Council needs to approve payment of bills, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Let's do it.
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.
And just to make one special note, I'm sure if we saw it on the announcement of meetings, we do have a meeting tomorrow night at 5:15 for the approval of the tentative millage, so just make sure everybody's.
Thursday.
We do?
Thursday.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
Thursday.
sorry, what'd I say?
Tomorrow.
You said
I'm so sorry, the
tomorrow.
20th, tomorrow, I mean
At
Thursday.
5:15, right?
5:15, in
Okay.
the council chambers, yeah. Sorry about that.
Are we
Almost
done?
had a heart attack.
We are done for this meeting.
Already have
This
some.
meeting is over.
All right.